The brave little honey badger. In the heart of the African savannah lived a small honey badger named Benny. Benny wasn't like the other honey badgers in his family. His brothers and sisters were much bigger, stronger, and faster. They would often wrestle and play rough, but Benny always stood on the sidelines, watching. He didn't mind so much. He loved exploring the savannah, discovering new things, and making friends with the other animals. But sometimes Benny wished he were just a little bigger. If only I were stronger, he often thought. Maybe I could join in on the fun. One bright and sunny day, Benny was out wandering near the tall grasses when he heard some rustling behind him. He turned and saw his two best friends, Tilly the turtle and Ollie the owl, rushing toward him. Tilly's little legs were wobbling as she tried to keep up with Ollie's frantic flapping. Their eyes were wide with worry. "Benny! Benny!" Tilly cried, her small voice trembling. "We're in trouble. What's going on?" Benny asked, his heart racing a little faster. "We were exploring the forest," Ollie hooted, "but we got lost. And now there's a hyena blocking our path home. He's huge, with sharp teeth, and he keeps pacing back and forth. We don't know what to do." Benny's ears perked up at the mention of a hyena. He knew they were dangerous, especially for small animals like them. But he also knew that his friends needed help, and he couldn't let them down. "Don't worry, you two," Benny said, standing up tall. "We'll find a way to get home together. I'll lead the way." Tilly and Ollie looked at each other, still a little unsure, but they trusted Benny. After all, he had always been the smartest and most resourceful in their group. The three friends set off toward the dense forest, the tall grass swaying in the warm breeze behind them. As they entered the forest, the trees grew taller and the air cooler. Shadows danced across the forest floor, and the sound of chirping birds echoed through the branches. But Benny's sharp eyes were focused on the path ahead, alert for any signs of danger. After walking for a while, they reached a wide river. The water rushed by quickly, making it impossible to swim across. Tilly stared at the swirling water, her legs trembling even more than before. "We can't cross this, Benny," she whispered. "I'll never make it." Benny glanced around, thinking quickly. Then he spotted a sturdy fallen branch nearby. "Wait right here," Benny said, dashing toward the branch. With his strong little claws, Benny dragged the heavy branch to the riverbank. With a little help from Ollie's wings, they placed the branch across the river like a bridge. "Okay, one at a time," Benny instructed. "Ollie, you go first." Ollie flew across easily, perching on the other side. Then it was Tilly's turn. She hesitated at first, but Benny encouraged her. "You can do it, Tilly. Just take it slow." Tilly took a deep breath and slowly waddled across the branch, her tiny feet gripping the wood tightly. Halfway across, the branch wobbled, and Tilly froze in fear. Benny hurried behind her, steadying the branch with his paws. "Keep going, you're almost there," he called out. With Benny's support, Tilly made it safely to the other side, and Benny followed closely behind. Just as they were catching their breath, a loud rustling sound came from the bushes. Tilly and Ollie froze. A low growl echoed through the trees. It was the hyena. Tilly ducked into her shell, shaking. Ollie flew to the top of a tree, his eyes wide with panic. Benny's heart pounded, but he knew he had to stay calm. The hyena hadn't seen them yet, but it was getting closer. "We have to move now," Benny whispered. He scanned the area for an escape route and noticed a vine hanging from a tree. An idea formed in his mind. "Follow me," Benny said as he grabbed the vine. He swung it toward a tall tree with a sturdy branch. "Quick! Climb up!" Ollie, being an owl, flew up easily and perched on the branch. But Tilly was too slow to climb on her own, and the hyena was getting closer. Benny didn't have time to think. He quickly tied the vine around Tilly's shell and, using all his strength, pulled her up the tree, one step at a time. The hyena emerged from the bushes, sniffing the ground. Benny tugged harder, pulling Tilly to the top of the branch just in time. The hyena looked around, confused, but couldn't see them hidden among the thick leaves. From their perch, the three friends watched as the hyena prowled beneath them, growling and pacing. It seemed like forever before the hyena finally lost interest and slunk back into the forest. Once the danger had passed, Tilly peeked out from her shell, her eyes wide with relief. "That was so close," she whispered. Benny let out a deep breath he didn't realize he was holding. "We're safe now," he said, though his paws were still shaking from the effort of pulling Tilly up. "You saved us, Benny," Ollie said, flying down to Benny's side. "You're the bravest honey badger ever." Tilly nodded. "I thought I'd never make it across the river or escape the hyena. But you were there for me, Benny. You're a true hero." Benny smiled, though he felt a little embarrassed. "I couldn't have done it without your help," he said modestly. "We worked together. That's what friends do." As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the forest, the three friends made their way back home, following a safer path that Benny carefully chose. They finally reached the savannah, where the grasses swayed gently in the evening breeze, welcoming them back. At home, Benny's brothers and sisters were surprised to see him return with Tilly and Ollie. They had heard about the hyena roaming the forest and assumed Benny would never have been able to face it. "What happened out there, Benny?" his biggest brother asked, curious. Benny shrugged, trying to downplay the adventure. "Oh, we just had to outsmart a hyena, cross a fast river, and climb a few trees," he said casually. "No big deal." But Ollie and Tilly couldn't hold back their excitement. "Benny was incredible," Ollie hooted. "He saved us from the hyena and helped us cross the river. He's the bravest honey badger ever." Tilly added, "I've never seen anyone so calm and clever in such a dangerous situation. Benny's not just brave, he's a true leader." Benny's brothers and sisters looked at him with newfound respect. They realized that being the biggest or strongest wasn't what made someone brave. It was about heart, courage, and helping others when they needed it most. From that day on, Benny wasn't just known as the smallest honey badger in the family, he was known as the bravest. His adventures with Tilly and Ollie became legendary in the savannah, and animals from all around came to hear the story of how the little honey badger with the big heart saved the day. And Benny, though he was proud of his bravery, knew that the best part of the adventure wasn't defeating the hyena or crossing the river. It was the bond he shared with his friends, who trusted him when it mattered most. Benny had learned that true courage wasn't about being fearless, it was about facing your fears to help the ones you love.